Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, old and young alike. How's everyone doing today? Not even 6 yet. Well, it's like 3 minutes before 6. But I was just sitting here and I was like, you know what? I could just sit here for another 3 minutes. I could just kind of twiddle my thumbs. I have all my links in a row and everything like that. Though, inevitably, there will be a link who doesn't work. And those 3 minutes could probably have been better used. But I wanted to go live anyway and yap at you, all of you, my dear viewers. Okay, we got a lot to cover. We got a lot to talk about. There's a lot of things that are going on today that deserve our attention. And there's probably even more that we won't get to. But these are the things that I found interesting and worth talking about. Again, there's always more to cover than we have time to cover, but we're going to do our best. So, first of all, Zero Fox, nice to see you. Welcome to the stream. Why does? Nice to see you as well. Welcome to Twitch. I want to apologize for last night. We were scheduled to have a show at 8:30 or 8 o'clock between Not So Erudite and Drew Pavlo. Unfortunately, one of the guests got sick and couldn't make it, and so I had to cancel. I don't like canceling. I don't like rescheduling. I don't like it. I try everything in my power to not do that. But this is one of those situations where the point of the conversation was for these two specific people to talk to each other. And when one of them's missing, I can't have that conversation, right? And it wouldn't make sense to bring on a backup or whatever because they weren't there to talk to about a specific topic. They were talking to a specific person. And so, unfortunately, we had to cancel last night's show. I don't like doing that. So, as a mea culpa, as a recompense to you, my dear viewers, not that it makes up for it, but I'm going to go live today. My Twitch title was written by a 3-year-old. Did I misspell something? I did misspell something. I'm seeing it right now. Okay. Let me change my Twitch title real quick. Apologize for that. Hopefully I corrected the issue. Testy Johnson accepts my apology. TL1524. Erudite got sick, unfortunately. It is what it is. Input, output. Nice to see you. Good afternoon. Gang, what do you want me to cover first? Okay, again, like I said, we have a lot to cover. I could talk about Jack Poso, the right-wing guy who likes to get really mad about voter fraud, apparently has been committing voter fraud. We're going to read about that. You guys want me to cover that first? Well, nice little hypocrisy for you, right, to go over. We could cover some of Tim Pool's comments that said his claim is that 90% of the liberals he asked to come on the show demand money for coming on the show. Now, I've been on his show, and I know a lot of liberals and left-leaning people who have been on his show. I asked a bunch of them today. Not all of them answered me, right? Because not all of them are around to just answer random DMs. But all the ones that I got with said no, that they didn't ask or demand money or anything. So we can talk about that. We can go over that kind of dynamic at play, right? Because it's possible Tim Pool's correct, but I would like to see the numbers because I don't trust him and I don't trust those numbers. In my experience, it just doesn't seem to pan out that way. I've had really big people come on my show and not demand a dime. Only 2 people have, look, for those of you who want to know, there's been 2 people that I can recall in my years of streaming that have ever demanded payment for coming on my show. The first was a woman by the name of Lily Gladys. Do you guys remember Lily Gladys? She got famous for saying the N-word as a white woman. I don't know know what else she's known for, but she blew up, got viral because of that. Had her 15 minutes of fame. I invited her to come, and I think it was to debate Destiny. This was like a year ago, and she said she'd do it, but then like later that night, she DM'd me and says, "Oh, by the way, I require $20,000 to go on your show. That's my fee." Yeah, I don't know who these people think they are, demanding $20,000 to go on a Wix show, but that ain't happening. I thought it was very amusing and very funny. Obviously, it was a way to dodge. She didn't want to do the debate, so it was a way to say, well, I would have come on, but he didn't pay me my fee, so I couldn't come on. So that was the first person that ever asked me for money to come on the show, and I was shocked. The second person, or I guess people, that demanded money was the Vanguard boys, the Vanguard podcaster guys. There's two of them. They asked for $8,000 to come on my show. Crazy shit. Okay. Crazy shit. I don't know. Like, so it's very possible Tim Pool is correct with his figures. I just need to see the number. I need to see the data, because in my experience, it's just not how that works. Right? I've had even really, really, really big people come on my show, and they haven't demanded a dime. So I don't know, but I don't know what he's referring to. He also said that 0% of conservative influencers demand money to be on his show, but that's not true. And we know that's not true because the MAGA lawyer guy that Pisco debated on Tim Pool's show demanded, what was it, 1,000, maybe 10,000 for charity? Some ungodly number, right? And he wouldn't debate unless that money was paid. So he's wrong. It's not 0% of conservatives. It's higher than that. But I don't know how much higher. Now, if he had said something like, more liberals ask for money than conservatives, I think that's believable, especially on a right-wing show like Tim Pool's. Like, if you are a right-leaning host or a pro-Trump host, then it's more likely that the people who ask for money to come on your show are going to be left-leaning people. That just makes sense to me. And I would figure it'd be vice versa, with the other way. Like, if you are a left-wing host or you lean left, then you're going to have more right-wing people ask for money to be on your show. Just the nature of the gig, right? But I guess since we're talking about it, I'll pull it up first, okay? All right, we're already going over it, okay? But that's not what he said. He says this, and let me get that up for you. Let me make it a little bigger. 90% of liberals we try to book demand money. 0% of conservatives ask for money. In fact, conservatives sometimes drive themselves, even though, hold on, you can't see it all. Okay, there we go. Even though we cover travel and accommodation, liberals are grifters. They don't care about ideas. They care about money. They will say anything for money. It's just not true, gang. It's just not true. If 90% of liberals they try to book demand money, I want to see the names. I want to know. I want to know who's charging this guy money to come on his show. I can only think of, no liberals, one leftist, one group of leftists, I guess two, technically. The Vanguard boys have ever asked me for money. No one else has. No right-winger has either, to be clear, right? Except for one, Lily Gladys, okay? That's only been two, ever. I've had porn stars on my show for free, okay? That come on, haven't asked for a dime. So I don't know what's going on in Timmy's world where that's the case. But again, like I said, maybe I don't have the access to the information that he does. Maybe he's correct, but I'd like to see those I'd like to see those numbers. I'd like to see those names, right? I want to know who's charging him money. It seems crazy. Look, there's nothing I think inherently immoral if you want to ask for money to come on a show. I mean, good luck getting paid. Like, when so many people will come on for free, good luck with that, right? But I guess if you want to charge people an appearance fee, I don't think there's anything necessarily immoral about that or wrong about that. I don't think it necessarily makes you a grifter, especially if you like. I mean, if they're asking you to like be a headline speaker at something, like, okay, they should probably pay you. But when it comes to like coming on a podcast to talk, I don't know. It's just not something I've seen done. Maybe I'm not big enough, right? Maybe I'm just not on the level that a lot of these people are. But like Lex Friedman, for example, I don't think anyone pays to go on his show. I could be wrong. But I don't think anyone's asking for money when they appear on the Lex Friedman podcast. And these are huge politicians, huge people. I would be curious to see if anyone does, right? I don't know, gang. I guess this is the most mild of the things we're going to talk about. But it's just indicative of a culture of dishonesty, okay? A culture of dishonesty where the right does not have a good theory of mind about the left. They don't understand the left. They don't have an accurate view of what the left actually believes or how the left actually acts or how the left actually behaves. Now, in a lot of cases, the same is true for the left. A lot of leftists don't understand conservatives. They don't understand how they act, behave, etc. So what we're doing is we're having people just believing the worst of each other and just running with it. Now, Tim Pool's a little different, right? Tim Pool is a driver of falsehoods, is a peddler in misinformation, and he does that on his show all the time. And this is one more piece of evidence in a long string of evidence where he will simply just make shit up. He will pull numbers out of his ass, present it as truth, give no sources, name no names, and then expect you to just swallow it, right? Expects you to just believe it. And much of his audience does. Much of his audience would never question this. Would just, oh, that makes sense. That tracks. That follows what I know about those liberals. Those liberals are just after our money, right? Matter of fact, though, most left-leaning people would be happy, would be over the moon to get exposure on someone like Tim Pool's show. You probably wouldn't even need to offer them accommodations. They'd probably figure it the fuck out. Like, if he hadn't offered when I went on his show to pay for my hotel and travel, I would have figured it out. I would have come on his show because it's a good opportunity and it's a lot of exposure and it's an interesting experience. Okay? But yeah, this idea that all the liberals are just grifters and conservatives are just honest boys who never ask for money for anything isn't borne out by the data, isn't borne out by the facts, isn't borne out by my experience. It's just true. Okay? That's just true. Any thoughts on this from my audience here? O'Reilly Freeman says, a guy who got paid by Russians calling liberals a grifter, classic. True. Are they believing him or are they looking for confirmation? What do you mean, Pan Am? Most of the comments I've seen are just rolling with it. Sneed McFeed says, left-wing grifters are more mainstream. That's the difference. Like who? Well, first of all, what do you consider a grifter? Like what? This is a word. It's a snarl word. It's something you say when you don't like someone. But I'm really curious because everyone means something different when they say it. When you say grifter, what do you mean? I'm just curious. Old school. I did ask every single liberal person I know who've been on the show, which isn't an insignificant number of people. Again, I can't make anything conclusive from that because I don't have access to his booking data. But it should be easy for him, trivially so, to provide some data if what he says is true. Like, if you're going to say 90% of X group does this, okay, it's on you. The onus is on you to show that that's the case. You just made a claim. Now you have to back it up. Especially when people say, hey, that smells funny. That information doesn't track. It doesn't seem to bear out with my experience. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe my experience is one of the 10%. Maybe I'm an outlier. Perhaps. I'd like to see the data nonetheless. Remy LeBeau says the only true grifter in this circle is Counterpoints. Why do you think Counterpoints is a grifter? What about Counterpoints makes him a grifter? I'm just really curious. Because I've talked to the man before. I've met the man before. He seems genuine in his beliefs. And to me, when I say grifter, there is a level of disingenuousness that has to be there. Like, you have to be saying things that you don't really believe or doing things that you don't really believe in order to garner an audience or money, right? Either fame, clout, money, anything like that. You are putting on a front that is not you, right? Something that you don't actually believe, that is not actually true, that is not actually you. That's what I mean by a grifter. So just because someone is wrong and stupid doesn't make them a grifter if they're genuine in their beliefs. Like, I don't think Rob Noor is a grifter. I don't think he's just out for money. I think he genuinely believes what he says. He's wrong and dumb, but not a grifter. I don't think I can't think of I'm trying to think of grifters, like who I would consider a grifter in this sphere. Not even President Sunday. I don't think President Sunday is a grifter. I think he's a liar, but I don't think he's a grifter. Does that make sense? Maybe my definition's too strict, right? Maybe you guys would use a looser definition. But my definition requires you to be disingenuous. Well, thank you, old school. David Pakman. I don't know enough about David Pakman. He might be. J-Max says, wait, you're a grifter if you don't vote for the party you're registered with? Insanity? No. Oh, are you arguing with the people who saying Counterpoints is a grifter? Yeah, I don't think Sunday's a grifter. Look, I don't know. You guys just saying most left-wing people are grifters, and I was just curious what you meant by grifters, so I asked. I just want to know what you guys mean, because like I said, grifter is one of those words that people just call people when you don't like them. Like, if I can't think of a real good insult for someone, you could just call them a grifter. And it's vague enough and like loosey-goosey enough that people will just nod along like, yeah, that guy's a grifter. Even just because they don't like him, right? Candace Owens is a grifter, but not on the left. If she's not a grifter, she's crazy. She's the woman that like thinks that what do they got? A prime minister in France? I don't know the name of their leader. Is it president, prime minister? I'm not sure the title. Macron. she thinks that Macron's wife is trans or something, and has gone there's a whole lawsuit about that, right? That's going on. She also believes in just all sorts of crazy stuff. Like, so if she's not a grifter, then she's just batshit. But I don't know, right? Like, I look, I don't really cover her content because it's crazy content. Oh, it's called President in France. Is that what they call him? Yeah, you might be right. I don't watch Candace enough to know. I don't watch her enough to know. Okay. So I think we've covered that. Well and good. Let's talk about Kash Patel firing, or allegedly firing well, he did fire them. Fired an FBI agent trainee for allegedly, right? Allegedly, because they had a gay pride flag last year. So it wasn't even during the Trump administration. It was like over a year ago on their desk in California. And allegedly, Kash Patel fired this guy over it. Let's read the article. See what they say. Okay, this is from MSNBC, so keep that in mind. Let me adjust it so you guys can see it properly. Sorry about this. Bloop bloop bloop. Tell me if you can't read it or you need it bigger. So Kash Patel fires an FBI agent trainee for displaying a gay pride flag. The FBI employee was fired on the first day of the government shutdown as President Trump threatened more terminations. So oh wow, I need to make it bigger. Okay, bigger. Maybe later, I don't care about you. Okay. The FBI director, Kash Patel, on Wednesday fired an agent in training for displaying a gay pride flag on his desk while appointed to a field office in California last year, according to 3 people familiar with the matter. The trainee, who previously worked as an FBI support specialist in Los Angeles, received a letter dated October 1st and signed by Patel, claiming he had displayed an improper political message in the workplace during his assignment in California under President Joe Biden, according to a copy of the letter shared with MSNBC. So a couple things right off the bat that I think we have to talk about. Okay? So I don't know how many of you are familiar, but there's this thing called the Hatch Act. So the Hatch Act, okay, I'm going to really summarize it for you. We could do the whole go through it the exact right. But as I understand it, and correct me if I'm wrong, please, the Hatch Act forbids civilian government employees at things like the FBI, things like the CIA, in government institutions from overt political acts or displays, right? So, for example, under the Hatch Act, it would be inappropriate for FBI agents to run around wearing MAGA hats, okay, during the course of their investigations and things. That would be an overt political display, right? And under the Hatch Act, again, as for my understanding of it, it would be a fireable offense. I get that right? We good? Anyone want to correct me on this? Yes? No? Did I summarize it correctly? I'm asking because I'm not a Hatch Act expert. Anyway, so the question becomes, is having a gay flag on your desk, a pride flag apparently, a rainbow flag, is that a violation of the Hatch Act? Is that an overtly political statement? I don't know that it is. If I put up a picture of me at a church, would that be overtly political? I don't think it would. If I had a cross, would that be overtly political? I don't think it would, right? I think it's something else entirely. Now, I suppose you could have overtly political pro-LGBT messaging and stuff that would violate the Hatch Act. I like vote no on Prop whatever, or vote yes on legalizing gay butt sex marriage. I don't know. I don't fucking know, right? But I can imagine a scenario, right? I can imagine the scenario where that would be the case, where you could have an inappropriate display of something that is involving a political messaging. But if this statement is accurate, and if this reporting is accurate, I don't think having a rainbow flag on your desk, I don't think that's an overtly political statement. I just don't. I don't believe that. And again, not even from this year in this administration, from last year. So we do need to talk about cancel culture from the right, because this smacks to me of cancel culture. It's drudging up past statements that you've made from a fucking year ago and bringing that up and then trying to get you fired for it. In this case, actually firing you. I don't think that's improper political messaging. The letter cited President Donald Trump's Article 2 powers under the Constitution to dismiss federal agency career personnel, a justification used in several recent firings of the Department of Justice and FBI. The terminations are currently being challenged in several lawsuits. So this is a quote. After reviewing the facts and circumstances and considering your probationary status, I have determined that you exercised poor judgment with an inappropriate display of political signage in your work area during your previous assignment in the Los Angeles field office. End quote. Crazy shit. Okay. So he was, I guess, in his new role, or their new role, I suppose. I don't even know if this guy's a guy or a girl. I have no idea who this person was, right? So they were in probationary status, apparently. That happens normally under new positions when you get a new job, or when you're in a new position in your job. They usually have a clause that for the first month to 3 months, it's usually some sort of probation where if you fuck up, they can just fire you much easier and you won't get benefits and things like that, right? It's legalese stuff. And so I can imagine that that's the case. But to say they exercise poor judgment for having a pride flag on their desk in California, that's a little much. I don't know. It smacks of unreasonableness to me. It smacks of unreasonableness. It is an unreasonable thing to fire someone for. Again, not even during the Trump admin. Last year in California. You are being summarily dismissed from your position as a new agent trainee at the FBI Academy in Quantico, Virginia, and removed from federal service, read the letter, which was sent on the first day of a nationwide government shutdown that created job uncertainty throughout the federal workforce. After reviewing the facts and circumstances I already read that part. The FBI did not immediately respond to requests for comment about this story. MSNBC was unable to reach the fired trainee for comment and therefore is not identifying him. Oh, it is a him. Okay, we learned. The termination over the pride flag was first reported by CNN. Wednesday's dismissal comes after the Trump and Russell Vought, the White House director of the Office of Management and Budget, threatened widespread firings of federal employees in the event of a government shutdown. The agent trainee, who had most recently been assigned to the FBI Academy in Quantico, won an Attorney General's Award in 2022 for recognition of his work, according to a Justice Department news release. News of the trainee's firing spurred some agents in the FBI's Washington field office to scour their workstations and social media for accounts, for signs or comments, anything that could be viewed as offensive to Trump. his top appointees and MAGA supporters, according to one person familiar with the action from the government. And I do want to talk about this, because when we talk about cancel culture, one of the pernicious effects of such things is this chilling effect. Do we want government, federal employees at the FBI to be worried that they might offend MAGA supporters or Trump or one of his top appointees by something, I don't know, they say on Twitter, or even having a fucking pride flag at their desk? Is that the world you guys want to live in? Like, I remember talking to Political Math the other day, and he said, and I've heard this from multiple sources, right, that conservatives has always felt that they had to, like, keep their mouths shut about their true political leanings, because if they said anything, they would be a social pariah or may even get fired from their job. Do we think that that's a good world to live in? Because if you don't, if you'd like people to feel free to express their political opinions, right? Again, I want to be very clear. They didn't have like a hang Mike Pence sign, or they didn't have like a picture of Donald Trump's head cut off with that Griffin lady, Janie. Who was that lady? You remember the one who held up the severed Trump head, right, with all the fake blood and shit? Kathy Griffin? I forget her name. But yeah, it wasn't that. They had a rainbow flag. They had a rainbow flag at their desk. That's crazy to me. Keep reading. When Trump was weeks away from inauguration in January, FBI agents and Justice Department prosecutors were warning one another to be careful about displaying information revealing their own sexual orientation or support for lesbian, gay, bisexual, or agents or transgender rights. After the inauguration, one person said, FBI agents warned colleagues that they heard new pro-Trump appointees installed at the FBI were combing through internal employees to find lists that identified employees as LGBTQ. DOJ Pride, an LGBTQ employee resource group at the Department of Justice, shut down in late January, less than 10 days after Trump signed an executive order seeking to root out all diversity, equity, and inclusion measures from the federal government. The group ceased to operate effective immediately, DOJ Pride's board wrote in an email sent to members at the time. In this time of uncertainty and concern, we have taken the extraordinary measure of ceasing operations of DOJ Pride, the message said. We have made this decision in the interest and for the protection of all members. And gang, it looks like that was a good decision to make, to protect the people who are being employed by the federal government, that if they are pro-gay, seen as pro-gay in any way, as small as it may be, it'd be considered a violation of the Hatch Act, and they'd be fired or let go. Again, this was just one incident, right? But it sets precedent. It sets precedent under these things. The email, which was shared with NBC News by two DOJ staffers, thanked members for their understanding during this time and expressed hope that the group could rebuild in the future. The FBI's firing of a trainee for displaying a gay pride flag on his desk late last year came as more than a dozen federal agency websites trumpeted that the radical left, quote unquote, had caused the government shutdown. I've actually seen one of the emails that's gone out, right, to all these people, okay? Yeah, talk about violating the Hatch Act. Talk about having overt political statements in these places of work. Crazy shit. Crazy shit, gang. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Like, this is chilling. It is very disturbing when even just expressing, I got some gay pride in me, right, is grounds that they'll fire you from your job in the FBI. We aren't talking this guy going to pride parades, wearing the fucking dog mask and being weird with like nudity or anything. We aren't talking about anything like that. We're not talking about like joking about violence or even like I'm riding with Biden shirt or something like that, right? We aren't talking about anything like that. We're talking about a rainbow flag on a desk last year in California under Joe Biden. That's crazy, gang. That's crazy. Entirely inappropriate. Highly inappropriate that they were fired for this. It's not just a rainbow flag and you know it. No, actually, it's the weather-controlling Jews that are being infiltrating the government with the lizard people. No, it's a fucking pride flag, you dipshit. It means I like gay people. We're not even talking the one with the fucking triangle or whatever, with the trans pride and all that. We're talking a rainbow flag. Something that's been around for decades. Jesus Christ. It's an ideologically flag. It's not political. This isn't a political statement. Not in any meaningful way. If someone has a cross that they wear, okay, around their neck, do you think it would be appropriate for Biden or the next Democratic government, president or whatever, administration, to fire that person because they are displaying an overtly political symbol? An a rainbow flag is overtly political in the same way that a cross is overtly political. It's one for fucking one. So if you don't want the Democrats, or you don't think it's appropriate for the Democrats to fire someone for wearing a cross, and I don't think it would be, to be clear, I would think that would be a gross violation for someone to do, for any government organization or head or appointee or president to fire someone for wearing a cross during their work, or having a picture of their church, of them at their church on their desk. I think that would be entirely inappropriate for someone to fire someone over that. In the same way, I think it's entirely inappropriate for someone to fire someone for simply having a rainbow flag at their desk. It's insane. Kay says, actually in Canada, you can't wear religious symbols if you work in the public sector. Yeah, but that's Canada, and I don't want to be Canada. I don't want to be Canada. I don't want to. Audacity for $5. To support your government, go look up 5 U.S. Code 7323. Political activity authorized prohibitions. Look at Section C at the end. $10 from the old school. The Hatch Act violation is important, but FBI agents have to be seen as impartial and apolitical, even if they are not. A pride flag violates an appearance of partisanship, which is pernicious. No, I don't think it does. Like, having a pride flag at your desk, you could vote Republican and you could support Republican presidents with that. I know plenty of gay-ass F-slurs who voted for Trump, okay? Plenty. Having a pride flag, I'm not even talking about the one with the triangle. Having a rainbow flag at your desk does not denote your political denomination. Stop pretending it does. Just like having a cross on your neck doesn't denote your political denomination. I know plenty of people who wear religious paraphernalia that vote Democrat. $2, I'm sorry. Old school. Would punishing someone for the Gadsden flag be okay? What the fuck is a Gadsden flag? I don't know what the Gadsden flag is. Are you talking about the England flag? With the white and the red cross? Or are we talking about something else? You gotta tell me what the Gadsden flag is. Oh, I don't even know this Gadsden flag? This thing that you guys are just saying right now? Are you talking about the Don't Tread on Me flag? What are you talking about when you say the Gadsden flag? I'm asking for clarification. Oh, the Don't Tread on Me flag? I don't think that's necessarily political, no. the Gadsden flag. It's a don't tread on me flag. It's with the snake. Don't step on snake. I don't think that would be grounds for firing someone. No. $5 from Audacity say employees should argue it's a Christian covenant flag and not a pride flag. Maybe. Yeah, the no step on snake flag. I don't think it's overtly political in a way that would resort to you being fired for having it on your desk. Why would it? People at the FBI, I guarantee you, I bet you $100 have MAGA hats on their desk. They ain't getting fucking fired. $5 from Lawson Harrison. Wick, the pride flag does have political connotations, but only in the colloquial sense, not in any legal sense. It has political connotations in the same way a cross does. Sure, I will grant you that yes, there are some certain connotations with the pride flag that may or may not be political. Same with a cross or any religious paraphernalia. $5 from What the Fuck Over. Google Republicans displaying gay pride flag. First one is Trump. Fair enough. No, pride flag is not. Okay. Do you know what Christian nationalism is? Do you think that's a political stance? What is one of the symbols that a Christian nationalist uses? It's a cross. So if I wanted to say all crosses are political, I would technically be correct, but it would be inappropriate to fire someone because they had a cross on. It would be entirely inappropriate for the government to fire an FBI agent who's otherwise doing their job because they decided to have a picture of a cross on their desk at work. And if you think, look, hold on. I'm telling you right now, I'm warning you. This is a fucking dire warning, and I'm serious. If you make it so that people will be fired for having a rainbow flag at their desk, you are paving the way for them to fire everyone who wears a cross or displays a cross on their desk. That will happen, and you will be at fault because you set the precedent for this, because you built the weapon. And then you're going to be shocked, oh no, when it's turned on you. What are you, stupid? Do you think that the Republicans are going to rule for the next 1,000 years? Do you think that the Democrats are just never going to win another election? Are you retarded? These tools that you build will not always be in your hands. And these same tools that you build to strike at your enemies will be turned upon you. And I am begging you, please, because I do not want to see you fired. I do not want to see that happen to you. I am begging you, do not build this machine. Do not feed this beast. Do not fan these flames. Do not. Because you won't get an ounce of pity. $5 from Shapingro's Economics. A MAGA hat is not political. Someone might just like the aesthetic. Don't you agree? I'm just telling you. You know what they would say, though? They would say, oh, that's just showing support for our president. I'm just telling you what's going to happen, but good luck. Speaking of, I want to show you guys something. Okay, I've made the right mad at me, and I'm about to make the left mad at me. Hold on. Did I not have this? How do I not have this up? I thought I I thought I made the... Oh, God. Give me a second. I can get it up real quick. That's what she said, right? No, I'll get it up real quick. Hold on. Bring it up. We'll bring it up. This is great. Well, when I say great, I mean kind of horrifying, but we're gonna go with it. Okay, did you guys see? Oh, let me get the camera up so you guys can see. You guys see this video? It took place at a college campus. I'd have to look at what college campus, right? But let's look at it. Let's watch the video. So this guy comes in, this guy right here. You see him? And he starts doing stuff and saying stuff. Saying slurs, Hail Hitler, doing the Nazi salute. Well, let's just watch, see what happens.
What the fuck? Dude, get out! Get the fuck out! Get out!
Okay, so the guy comes in, disrupts the class, starts yelling, shouting, screaming, okay? Can't really hear what I was saying, but reports are saying he's like saying Hail Hitler, calling people slurs, all these things, throwing the Nazi salute, okay? And so he comes in and he bounces, okay? And people come after him. And the video keeps going.
Get the fuck out of here! Oh, yeah!
That's the teacher, by the way, okay, the class. He's obviously well outside of the classroom at this point.
Oh shit! Oh shit! Are you protected? I'm protected! Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh my god!
Rose got this is a scene of a zombie movie, gang. Did you see that shot? Right here, hold on, let me pull it back a little. You see that shot, boys and girls? Bro, they got the whole motherfucking class after this guy's ass.
Yo, fucking Nazi! Oh. Yo, they're gonna beat his ass. Oh shit! Oh shit! He's getting his ass beat! Oh shit! Oh shit!
Now, bud.
Oh shit! That's a oh shit! Max,
We can go more, but this pretty much covers it.
Are you fucking serious?
What did you expect?
Hey!
Do you know what you're doing?
What you gonna do now, bro? Really? And you guys pepper sprayed me. What happened to calling the whole class retarded? What happened?
T-Bird, what do you think my opinion's gonna be here? T-Bird in Twitch chat, what do you think I'm about to say? Given my stance on free speech and things like that, what do you think my response to this is gonna be? Whoa, take a guess. Take a minute. Look, this is good exercise, okay? Good exercise for people. Knowing if you've watched me for any length of time, and I've seen you in chat for months, T-Bird, right? And this is to YouTube chat too, right? If you've watched me for any length of time and you know my positions on these things generally, what do you think I'm about to say? Okay, let's take a minute, formulate what you think the best Wick impression response to this is gonna be. Okay, no cheating, and look what I said on Twitter already about it. All right. What do you think? T-Bird's here saying, "Oh, so you condone violent mob responses?" No. Not at all. Free speech, and this is to my title, needs defended even if the speech is bad. Even if the person is being a bit of a fucking asshole. Like, look, the guy goes into class. He interrupts the class, okay? He disrupts it, says a bunch of slurs and other things, and then goes out. Had he not left, I think it would have been entirely appropriate to remove him from that class. He's engaged in what's called the heckler's veto, okay? So the heckler's veto, what that is in free speech parlance, is when you have a speaker and an audience, and the speaker is consenting to speak, and the audience is consenting to listen. They want to hear what the speaker has to say. And then someone comes in and disrupts it and keeps the speaker from speaking and the audience from hearing what is being said. That's a heckler's veto. It is anti-free speech in nature. You are shutting down someone's, again, ability to listen to what they want to listen to and someone's ability to say what they want to say. They're going in there and they're engaging a heckler's veto. That's what he was doing in this class. So the kid comes up and he starts doing his heckler's veto, saying racist shit, saying all sorts of shit, apparently, allegedly, doing some Nazi salutes, allegedly, right? At that point, it's okay to remove the guy, I think. Yeah, you're interrupting the class. Get out. But bro was, they fucking chased him, gang. The whole fucking class. And then they pepper sprayed him. And then they beat him. Or at least hit him a couple times. Anyone who engaged in that physical violence needs to be arrested. Needs to be charged. That's not okay. It wasn't protecting the class or whatever. They weren't like in a fight to get him out while he was interrupting. He was well outside the classroom. It was entirely inappropriate to chase him like that. It was entirely inappropriate to lay hands on him. It was entirely inappropriate to pepper spray him. That's not okay. That's never okay. You don't do that shit. Now, if you want to follow him and yell at him, I think that's okay. I think that the flipping him off or whatever, kind of based. It's not bad. But as soon as you answer words with fists, you're in the wrong. Yeah, it's a true story. We're just watching the video, gang. We are just watching the video. Do you guys want to see it from his point of view? It doesn't start, and it's a little shorter, but we can see it from his point of view.
Had a 30v1 me. They had a 30v1 me, bro. Yo, they had a 30v1 me. Yeah. What? You keep teaching this degenerate nonsense? You keep teaching these kids degenerate nonsense? What? Yeah, degenerate nonsense. What? Yeah, all you guys had a 30v.
Okay, it doesn't go much longer on his end. But damn. Look at all those people. Again, if you want to go out and you want to do this thing where you follow them and you interact with them and you use your words, I don't think that's entirely inappropriate. But the lady who pepper sprayed him, because you see her running up, right, a little later in the video, right? Like, I think it's, was it this guy? Maybe it wasn't, right? Maybe it was another, it was hard to tell, right? Yeah, maybe this person, I think. It looks like it, but I can't be sure. Oh, you can't see it, right? Yeah, it looks like this person. I can't be sure, though. Comes up, and this is near the video, and that's when it cuts off because she pepper sprays him. Nothing he was doing at that moment required him to be pepper sprayed. And frankly, if you're running up on someone and pepper spraying them, you're kind of an idiot because that shit will come back in your eyes. Like it's not something you do while you're running towards someone, okay? That's probably a bad idea. Don't do that. Yeah, that's entirely inappropriate. Entirely, it's a crime, gang. It's assault is what it is. Again, we have to defend the free speech of even assholes. Now, again, he was engaged in a heckler's veto. Get him out of the classroom. I'm okay with that. I'm totally cool with removing him from that classroom. Not appropriate to disrupt the class like that. But this guy is no longer in the classroom. Okay. He's been removed from the classroom. He's now going to be looked at as the victim. And all these people, or the people who assaulted him, gave him exactly what he wanted. Gave him exactly what he wanted. She's a hero. They all are. What the fuck is heroic about chasing down a fleeing guy and beating him for his words? How's that heroic? You think that's... Hold on, Ecto. Do you think that makes it less likely or more likely that MAGA is going to win in the future? Less likely or more likely? What do you think videos like this will do? Do you think this helps the cause in any way? Do you think this makes people view you as reasonable or rational in any way? Do you think this really... do you think you're beating the "we're not violent" allegations? When people say the left is violent, I have to concede that a portion is. Because they are. Now, the right is too. We're going to talk about that in a second. But when people say the left is violent, I have to say a portion is. Because, as you saw, they are violently assaulting this guy. Ecto, you already wanted to be violent before my take. You were already going to be. You would, well, you won't because you're too much of a coward, right? But, you know, my take on this, me saying, hey, don't fucking chase down some dumbass and beat them because they said words you don't like. If that makes you want to be violent, then you were already violent to begin with. I haven't radicalized you. You're just a fucking asshole. Zero Fox says, I think all the students were MAGA, and they're just being violent towards the raper. Boosted Avian, I agree. Boosted Avian says, people are violent with, some of them are violent, of course, but nothing in the leftist ideology is fundamentally violent. I agree. Well, most leftist ideology is very broad. What do you mean? Right? Some is, right? I think a communist ideology is inherently violent, for example. So you got to be a little more specific. Leftist side. We use too broad of terms, and we need to stop. And I'm guilty of it too. I think they were far right and chased him for not being racist enough. It could be. It could be. I don't think so, though. I don't think that's why he was getting chased. But yeah, if you want to go and flip the guy the bird, I think that's perfectly fine. And I would probably join you, and it would be funny. But as soon as you pepper spray him, toss him on the ground, surround him, beat him, then you're the bad guy. Even if he said really, really mean things to you. Even if he said words that you really, really don't like. You're the bad guy. You were a bad person. You have committed violence in a state that you did not need to commit violence. You're no better than Hegseth, who just bombed that fucking boat that they didn't need to bomb with all those people on it. Obviously, you didn't kill the guy, right? So it's a little different. But still. Same mindset. Same idea. It is very important, and I am laser focused, that we divorce Democrats from the violent left. And when I say the violent left, I don't mean all or even a majority of the left. A very small portion. It will cost us nothing to disavow them. It costs us nothing to disassociate with them, to kick them out of the party. We lose nothing getting rid of them. Nothing is lost. We lose nothing. There's no cost to it. There's not a moral cost. There's not an electoral cost. There's not a strategic cost. There is absolutely no cost. Nothing. It is free. And we have so much to gain. There are so many benefits for this. Moral benefits, strategic benefits, electoral benefits. Everyone wins when we do this. Everyone. I win. Democrats win. Hell, even the right wins because they get to be led by someone who actually cares about America instead of MAGA, right? Everybody wins. Simius Game says, I would argue you would gain if liberals did this. No. These people don't fucking vote. Cacophonies, I'm not trying to please him. Cacophony's never going to vote for a Democrat because he believes the Jews or whatever control cloud seeding machines that make magic weather. I don't know. He's crazy. But that doesn't stop me from calling out bad actors on my side either. If you are chasing someone down because they said a mean word, okay, maybe they were even disruptive and an asshole, and then you're chasing them down out of the class, out of the building, down the street, you pepper spray them when they're running away, and then you corner them, you trap them, and you and your buddies hit on them, and not like flirting hit, you're a bad person. And you should go to jail. I told you I'm going to make a little bit of my left-wing audience mad at me today. Told you. But I'm just calling it like I see it. I'm just embarrassing myself. I'm not embarrassed. Promise. Promise I'm not embarrassed right now. Oh no, how cringe. A gentleman is saying don't beat up people for the words that they say. How cringe and embarrassing for him. Okay. Whatever, dude. Show the teacher again? Yeah, she was... Okay, look. You don't come to my stream for gooner bait, okay? You can calm down. We do have more to talk about. This week, a Charlie Kirk fan murdered 2 Hispanic teens after allegedly one of them joked about Charlie Kirk's death. He then live streamed about it on his YouTube channel. We're not going to watch that live stream, but we will see a clip. The stuff before. Guy right here. Okay. Ran over these 2 girls with his car. Here's a clip of what he said. I'm going to listen to it.
I gotta get drop P5 tonight.
Hey, whenever Maria sees the pizza guy come, better think of Charlie Kirk for making fun of his fucking death. Stupid ass clown.
Wait, what?
Just remember that.
Moments later, he would go on to run these girls over, these stupid ass clowns over, with his Jeep and kill them. Fun times. Here's an article on it. New Jersey teen accused in Cranford murders calmly plays live video game after the crash. So the teen is accused of killing 2 Cranford girls, went on YouTube live stream the next day claiming he was bullied. Families of victims say he stalked one of the girls. Prosecutors charged him with murder. The suspect, a gamer and Andrew Tate follower, has 39,000 TikTok followers and posted Jeep photos. Teenager charged with the intentional killing of two 17-year-old girls by running them over with a Jeep, went on a YouTube live stream the next day and tried to portray himself as a victim of bullying and the government's failure to address a mental health crisis. As the families and friends of Maria Noitis and Isabella Salas were racked with grief after the fatal Monday afternoon crash in Cranford, the 17-year-old online gamer and follower of the misogynist influencer Andrew Tate went live with his gaming buddy as if it were another normal day. He even crowed about how much engagement and revenue he was generating from the angry comments to his sick live stream. The video was posted a day before the Union County Prosecutor's Office announced 2 counts of first-degree murder against a juvenile, who has not been publicly identified because of his age. Relatives and neighbors of Maria Noitis said the suspect had stalked her. New Jersey 101.5 has been unable to confirm these details with official sources. In an emotionless rant, the gamer told a mostly hostile YouTube audience of more than 200 people, bro's getting more viewers than I am, that there is more to the story that you are not getting. The teen briefly expressed condolences to the 2 victims just twice in the 22-minute session, most of which is his lamenting the bullying and unspecified threats that he and his family have received. Making threats against my family will not be tolerated, the teen says in the video, which was supposed to be a live stream of a co-op MLB video game with a friend. Bro, you killed my best friend, you animal, one YouTube user responded. Stream after incident? Check. Mourn the death of 2 innocent people? X. Another noted after the frustrated teen turned off live commenting. He also makes cryptic references to mental health. The state is not doing right of addressing this mental health crisis, and I hope that Ciatrelli can fix this shit, he says, making a reference to a candidate in the upcoming gubernatorial election. If you get bullied and ridiculed in school about stuff that people hate you, I would tell your counselor immediately before this shit gets out of hand. You've got to address all these things because I'll tell you what, the amount of bullying that I've been put through in the past has been absolutely absurd. His TikTok account, which has 39,500 followers and nearly 329,000 likes, features a profile picture that resembles the black Jeep involved in his car crash. His X account includes retweets of Tate from 2023, as well as news about Tate's human trafficking charges in Romania that year. The fatal crash has stirred passions in the community, with online posts tying the driver to a prominent law enforcement family. The Union County Prosecutor's Office has not identified the driver of the Jeep, but on Wednesday announced the serious charges. New Jersey 101.5 will not name the suspect unless a judge agrees to charge him as an adult. As a result of misinformation, the police chief in neighborhood Westfield, who also lives in the Cranford neighborhood where the homicide unfolded, issued a lengthy statement on Wednesday clarifying that the suspect is not his son. In his YouTube video, the teen laments that misinformation that has spread about the case, but added that he's not going to talk about it anymore on the advice of loved ones and others. The teen does not name the girls or give any indication that he knew them personally. He does not explain how he was involved or even if he was behind the wheel. I want to make this very clear. I do wish my sincerest condolences to those 2 girls that were the victims of an absolute senseless tragedy, and my heart goes out to their families at this time, the teen says. Then the game begins. Oh, and then that's the end of the article. So here's the deal. There we go. I got the right thing up. In the New York Post, okay, they describe it as this. And let's go to the New York Post story. Oh, come on. Ads, no. Why won't it? Here, let me get rid of that. Why won't it? Whatever. Okay, here we go. The New Jersey teen girls killed in quiet suburb by alleged stalker who ran them down in a Jeep. She made complaints and nothing was done. The 2 teenage girls were mowed down and killed Monday in leafy Cranford, New Jersey by a hit-and-run driver who had allegedly been stalking one of them. The two 17-year-old Cranford High School students, Marian Noidis and Isabel Salas, were riding on an e-bike together around 5:30 when a black 2021 Jeep with tinted windows rammed into them, according to authorities. Both girls later died at the hospital. These are the girls in question. 17-year-old boy from Garwood, a small borough next door to Cranford, was arrested near the crash scene. And on Wednesday, authorities said he was charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder. So, this guy, this kid, and we saw the clip, right? Do we need to see it again?
I gotta get drop P5 tonight.
Hey, whenever Maria sees the pizza guy come, better think of Charlie Kirk for making fun of his fucking death. Stupid ass clown.
Wait, what?
Just remember that.
His friend wait, what? Again, later on, he would go to allegedly murder these 2 girls. He's being charged with it. We are in a state in America where we are engaged in violence against one another for our political views, and that needs to fucking stop immediately. No more cheering, chasing down someone who said mean things in the campus. No one getting so mad, right, that someone made a joke about Charlie Kirk's death, allegedly, that you drive into them with your Jeep and kill them. We don't do that shit in America. We need to stop. No Civil War 2.0. None of that. You won't like it. No one will. And we just need to stop. We need to stop this senseless bullshit. Did I miss some super chats? I think I did. Fun. $2 from Chapingro's Economic says, by the way, I wish we lived in the world you want us to. We live in the world that we choose to live in, friend. Like, if you think I'm too idealistic, we live in the world we choose. If you choose to live in a world where you're okay with people getting the shit beat out of them for what they say, that's the world you're going to get. If you choose to live in the world where it's okay to fire people for having quasi-political things on their desks, right? Whether that be a cross or a pride flag, that's the world you're going to get. I'm not okay with that. I'm going to fight against those norms. I'm going to fight against those or people trying to push those norms. That is not the world I want to live in. $5 from Adam Gadbaugh to say, I will defend speech I disagree with. I will not defend speech for those that have advocated against free speech. What does that even mean? I hear this too, like, oh, if they won't defend free speech, I'm not going to defend their free speech. No. Everyone, and I mean everyone, even if they disagree with me on this, is entitled, they have a right to free speech. Everyone. That means everyone. Okay? Even if they think that they should take away all the free speech rights of everyone else, they still have a right to speak. And yes, when their voices are silenced, I will defend them. $2 from Chapringo's Economy. Wick is 10 toes on the First Amendment, based and commendable. Thank you. $2 from Mr. Wise Guy Plays. Say, we need more people like you, Wick. You guys can't handle one of me. What do you mean you're going to handle more than one of me? You're just not. You're going to fold. It'd be crazy. 2 of me on the world is, it's like, you ever see Highlander? Okay. It's like that. There can be only one. There's only one Wick. Cameraman 502 $2 says, give him the life without parole. $5 from Mr. Wise Guy Plays. Say, the more people that can understand the point of view of the other side, the more we can humanize with each other and the less extreme actions are done. I'm just tired of waking up every day and wondering, what am I going to see on the news? What crazy, batshit, insane thing am I going to see on the news? Who is going to take a gun or take a car and kill someone on the for some crazy political reasons, right? Who's going to drive into a church and shoot up a bunch of Mormons because they don't like Mormons? Who's going to go out and shoot up some fucking ICE detainees trying to hit ICE agents because they don't like ICE? Who's going to do all these horrific acts? And then how are people going to react to it? Either trying to excuse it if they think it's on their side, or play it up as everyone on the other side does this if they think it's on the other side, right? What are we doing? We are creating a world where we stop seeing each other as human fucking beings. We have stopped seeing each other as human fucking beings worthy of fucking just basic levels of dignity. And I said this earlier, and I'm going to repeat it. You get the world that you choose the world you want to live in. And we're doing that right now. We are choosing the world we want to live with, and by how we act and how we treat all these instances. How do we react to these incidents? Do we react with glee? Do we react by weaponizing them? Do we react by trying to paint the other team as, look, they're all psycho, like this one psycho they have that's apparently on their team, right? Is that what we do? Is that the world you want to live in? That's the world you're creating, where these things happen more and more often because you're rewarding them with attention and by making them into weapons. I don't know. I feel like I'm ranting. I am ranting. Fuck. $2 from Alexander Wren to say there are no sacred cows in the speech. Moo. Evil Eye Interactive says we need an authority that people need to obey. It's called the government, the law. And they make laws, they legislate laws that you do need to obey. If a law is unjust, we can change that law. That's why we have a system in place. Okay? Political violence, at least in the context of America right now, does nothing good. It brings to pass no good outcomes, no good changes. Do you think that anything is going to happen that is in any way good from those people chasing down that guy, the asshole, and I'll admit he's an asshole, for disrupting that classroom? Do you think that anything good is going to come of that? Nothing good. No minds are changed to your side. No one's looking at that and saying, oh, I think the Democrats are based now. Not a single fucking person. Okay? Ecto Spangler says, Wick TV, quoting the great Frogan, this is such a cracker take. Agains, one side keeps swinging and we're stuck saying, please stop. How do we play the punching bag before we push back? Ecto, what are you advocating that we do? Push back how? Be precise, please. What do you think that we should do when someone comes in my stream and starts saying things I don't like? What should I do? Should I go to their house? Should I find them? Should I bring a weapon? What should I do precisely? Be specific. Nothing? Nothing? No real advocacy, just vague allusions to violence? Say it with your chest, man. Be brave. Come on. If you can't say it on a Twitch stream, right? In a Twitch chatter stream, who's very pro First Amendment, how you gonna stand up for yourself? Right? How you gonna do anything? Say it with your chest. What precisely are you advocating that people do? I don't know, man. A lot of people talk a lot of shit. Okay. They talk a lot of vague shit, but then when you call them out, they shut the fuck up real quick. Ecto Spangler says, if someone is in my space being nasty, I knock them the fuck out. If you're in a class with me and are attacking innocent people, I react. If I see you knocking someone out, you're going to jail, buddy. Okay? And that's going to be the consequences of your actions. Being nasty. What does that even mean? A lot of people, and this is why this is such a horrible way of doing things. Because what does being nasty mean? And it varies. Some people would say, oh, them's fighting words because they made fun of my mama. Or them's fighting words because they made fun of my hoodie. Or them's fighting words because they mildly disagreed with me. So they were being nasty. So I had to knock them the fuck out. Right? This is why we don't do this kind of heuristic of, they were nasty to me, so I get to lay my hands on them. No, we have very specific guidelines and specific rules, and there are specific morals about when violence is justified and when it is not. And under no circumstances, none, are words a justification, words given in a college classroom nonetheless, a justification for violence. You'd have to have much more than words attached to those things. Ecto Spangler says, LOL gringo take. Ecto Spangler says, let's hear your cracker take while you virtual signal like it's performance art. Yes, I am going to take the side of virtue. It's not a signal. I try to be virtuous. You should too. Because you know what? Virtuous wins elections. Virtuous wins. This keyboard warrior shit ain't getting you any wins, is it? How many seats do your elected representatives have in Congress right now? 0. The only thing you're good for is as a rhetorical punching bag. Calling me a gringo, that's weird. Evil wins sometimes. Temporarily, perhaps. It's always the loudest people that can't take shit, right? Look, I ain't scared of the yappers. Not really. The people who go in my chat and yap. Like, oh, you're such a weakling. Wick, oh, wick the weak. Ah, ha, ha. Look at you virtual signaling. Yeah. You'd never last a day in the streets. Oh, if I were to meet you in the streets, I'd punch you in the face. And no, I don't. Look, yappers are yapping, okay? I ain't scared of that. People you should be scared of, people you should worry about, are the people you've seen this stare. Maybe you haven't. I've seen it a couple times. They fucking give you, I can't even do it. I don't have that in me right now. You have to have it in you, okay? Who'll give you that fucking ice cold, silent stare. They just look at you. You ever been in an argument with a buddy and suddenly he goes, fucking, like, you're yelling at each other, you're having a good time, right? It's like you're jostling each other back and forth, and suddenly he gets real quiet and he gives you that look. And you know, oh shit, I crossed the line. I fucked up. I did something. I said something. Suddenly it's not a game no more. Okay? But the sign of that is they go fucking quiet. They go fucking death silent. Silent as a grave, okay? That's the people you should be scared of. The people, not the person who talks about how they're going to fuck you up, but the person who doesn't say a word, goes home, the next day, someone's missing, they got a shovel and they're covering up the body in their backyard. They didn't say shit about it. They didn't say a word. Those are the stone cold fucking killers that you got to be aware of. Not the yappers. Yappers be yapping. Mr. Wise Guys Plays for $2 says that puts a whole new meaning to silent but deadly. Henry Nomad says it's called awkward romantic silence, you dummy. I know. Look, I know what you're talking about, but that's not the same thing. And don't get those two mixed up, to be clear. Okay? But there is a saying, and it is appropriate because there is some overlap. If you want to diffuse a situation like that, one of the best ways to do it is like, what the fuck you doing, man? Are we fucking or are we fighting? You don't look at me like that unless we're fucking or we're fighting, okay? One of those two things is going to happen. Which one is it? I just want to be prepared. I'm down with either, but you just got to let me know. So yeah, I'll give you that there's a little bit of overlap. Simius Games says if you're going to go after Wick, comment on his bad taste in 40k army selection. I like the Sisters of Battle. Nuns with guns. What's wrong with that? Kinetic Paw says both at the same time. Maybe. Okay. But yeah, that's a tragic story. It's an allegation right now. It's an accusation, but charges have been brought about that a child, a teenager, killing other children, teenagers. Gross. Political violence has no place in America. We need to cut that shit out. Shouldn't be chasing people down out of a classroom. Shouldn't be running over girls with your Jeep. We good? Speaking of turning down the temperature.
President Trump will end the radical left's reign of terror in Portland once and for all. The president has directed Secretary Hegseth to provide all necessary troops to protect war-ravaged Portland and any ICE facilities under siege from attack by Antifa and other left-wing domestic terrorists. What's been allowed...
President Trump will end the radical left's reign of terror in Portland once and for all. The president has directed Secretary Hegseth to provide all necessary troops to protect war-ravaged Portland. I'm gonna be real with you guys. I've never been to Portland. I've never been. I've seen pictures, I've seen photos, I've seen videos and things like that. War-ravaged? We think that's war-ravaged? I saw 20 Days in Mariupol, okay? That's what war-ravaged looks like. Mariupol? How do you say it? I don't know how you say the word, okay? That's what war-ravaged looks like. Portland is not war-ravaged. And this idea, this kind of false premise that it's just chaos on the streets 24/7 and you're going to die if you step outside in Portland, it just doesn't map on with reality. Does it have a crime problem? Maybe. But we don't use federal military troops as law enforcement, and we don't for a very good reason. The military is trained to kill its enemies. It's a very different set of training. It's a very different set of values. It's a very different mindset in the military than you have for policing forces. We do not want policing forces to see the citizens of this country as an enemy. This is why it's a problem when, against the wishes of the governors, Trump insists on sending military troops to do police work. Why we don't do that shit. Okay. And it should be worrisome to everyone on all sides of the aisle that we are normalizing using the federal government to violate the rights of the states to come in unasked, uninvited, who the states are specifically saying, we don't want you here, to come in and do this kind of police work. In a state of emergency, perhaps, right? I can see scenarios, right, where that would be the case. But none of these are happening in Chicago. None of these are happening in Portland. None of these happening in any of these cities. Again, in the governments of those states, right? We have state governments, gang, in America, where we are a republic, okay, are saying, hey, stay out of our business. We don't want you here. And that is within their right to do so. I don't know. Remember when I was ranting earlier in the stream about forging the weapons that will one day be used against you? Okay. And this is to my right-wing audience. You remember when I said, I'm warning you right now that if you create this weapon, if you feed this beast, if you empower and normalize this behavior and this use of federal forces, right? Or I think I was talking about the pride flag in that case, right? If you do this, it is going to be used against you. You will one day, you will lose an election. Probably soon, but who knows, right? And as soon as you do, the other side isn't going to suddenly be better. They're going to use the exact same tools that you made and probably go a little further with that, which is what's happening here, right? It's a cycle. So anything you do, any weapon you create, any tool you forge, any norm you normalize, just imagine what it's like if the other side had this tool and used it. I don't think you're going to like what comes next when the Democrats win. But you don't have to. You don't have to normalize this. You don't have to do this. Any issue you have in Chicago or in Portland can be handled without giving the federal government, the executive branch, such overwhelmingly vague powers to declare emergency and then basically violate any kind of law or norm that they want. They can simply say, oh, it's an emergency. You know what emergency they're going to declare when the left's in power? It'll be climate change emergencies, okay? And they're going to send in the troops, and they're going to take care of business. And you ain't going to like it. You're going to scream bloody murder. You're going to say, this is a violation of all our rights, and blah, blah, blah. And people are going to look at you and say, this you? And point to you guys celebrating the federal troops being used in Portland and Chicago. That's what's going to happen. I don't want it to happen. And look, I'm going to tell you, I'm predicting this, but this isn't me advocating for it because I don't want this. Because again, it's a cycle. It just gets worse and worse and worse. I will be on the front lines defending your rights and speaking out against any Democratic president who's trying to use troops in this way. But I'm telling you, and to censor free speech in the way that Trump is doing. But I'm telling you, and I'm just being as honest as I can be, right? I'm being as plainly honest as I can be, that I will not be able to stop the more extreme radical people on my side next time they get power, if this is how you act. I'm not going to be able to stop it or slow it down like I was during the Biden administration a little bit. It may not have been to the extent that you liked, but we got rid of, they did not implement a lot of the things that you guys were scared that they would implement. They did not implement it, in part because the more moderate left and the more moderate liberals stood up and said, no, this isn't something we want. Do not do this. It's going to be bad. We got rid of the, what's it called? The COVID mandates. We got rid of those. Those didn't come into force for the civilian sector, in part because liberals stood up against it, right? And the Supreme Court struck it down, right? the misinformation board. I'm trying to forget what they called it. The Department of Misinformation, whatever. There was a board that Biden wanted to gin up, to create, to decide what on the internet is misinformation, disinformation, malinformation, blah, blah, blah. It's very censorious, very 1984, right? We jokingly called it the Ministry of Truth because that's what it would be. We stood up against that, the leftists, the liberals, right? The more moderate left. And we said, no, this is not okay. You should not do this. And he dismantled it. He did not do this. I'm telling you that that's not going to work if you guys keep just doing what you're doing, that we aren't going to be able to stop them. Us moderates are not going to be able to stop them like we were last time. We aren't even going to be able to slow it down. And if you think, oh, it was as bad as it could possibly get last time, you are stupid. You are retarded. It is no, I promise you, it is nowhere near as bad as it can get. And I'm pleading with you, and I'm genuinely warning you. If you engage in this behavior, if you continue to create these norms and violate these kinds of ways of doing things, I am not going to be able to stop the more radical extremist left when they get back into power, when Democrats win again, from packing the courts, entirely abolishing the filibuster, sending troops in for climate change emergencies, investigating every single person who ever voted MAGA right, and throwing them in jail. I'm not going to be able to stop any of that like I was previously. All those things you worry about being true are going to become true. Because you're creating the world, you are choosing the world that you want to live in, and you are choosing the rules at which your opponents will play by. Just telling you. Just warning you. Just giving you that right now. I don't know. Kings and queens. I am exhausted. I am exhausted. I just want to rest. Mr. Wise Guy Plays for $2 says the military has to deal with civilians all the time, not in a policing role. Like, we don't have military police roaming the streets in normal circumstances. Sure, on a military base, but that's not the same. And let's not pretend that it is. $5 from Old School says, Wick, you don't live and work in Portland. You don't know what's going on. I do, and I want federal troops. Okay, but your government doesn't, and the people in Portland, most of them do not. So you don't get to choose for the rest of your buddies. $5 from Chuckles Desu to say, what governor would ever say crime is out of control? Is there any political reason for any government to say crime is bad like ever? The governor of Louisiana just did it. Said, he invited President Trump to send federal National Guard troops to Baton Rouge, two of the cities, New Orleans and Baton Rouge, I think. I'm not 100% sure what the cities are, but he just did that. So what governor would ever say crime is out of control? The governor of Louisiana just did it. He just said it, like, I think last week. He specifically invited the federal government to send in troops to help enforce order. And that's okay. Look, if the governor of a state is asking for this to happen, then there's no problem. There's no issue at hand, not really. The issue at hand is the governors of these states are saying no. Sorry, do you guys not... Look, we can't know all things all the time. I get it. I understand. There's so much out there. There's so much going on. There's so much to talk about. There's tons of things that happen every day that I'm not aware of. Come on. Made national news. I don't know. $5 for General Grievous to say, at this point, I believe legislation needs to be changed to require a majority of 2/3 of Congress to allow domestic use of troops by POTUS domestically. We do need, look, ideally, if you guys elected Wick for president or Wick for Congress or Wick for Senate, whatever, right? The thing I would do in my cause, if you will, during my time of office would be to limit the power of the executive branch, regardless of who's in power in the executive branch. So even if I was serving under a Democratic president, especially if I was the Democratic president, I would be enacting and pushing for legislation that would end my ability to just willy-nilly declare emergency on everything. I would tighten up those rules. I would tighten up those guidelines. I would cut a lot of executive power that the Congress has been lazy and granted to the executive branch in the last 20 years. I would cut so much of it. I would force Congress to do their damn jobs. Because a lot of the reasons the executive has so much power is because Congress hasn't done their damn jobs and they have lazily passed the buck. And instead of legislating, they give it to the president to do their own job for them, which they should not be doing. It's lazy, and it's creating a crisis in America. So yes, that would be my cause, would be to severely limit the power of the executive branch and to put the power back in the hands of the Senate and the hands of the House. I think we can all get behind that if we believe in limited government, which I do. I don't know, again. I had a soda, and did I drink all my... I drink too much soda. $5 from Old School. Wick, the city and state government are allied with Antifa. Antifa will attack an innocent civilian, and the cops will only arrest the person attacked. The city and state government are allied with Antifa. Do you mean that they were voted in by a majority of the state, which happens to be what you consider Antifa? Is that not the state's right to do? I don't know. But like, look, if most of the state, if most of the people in your state want to be run by someone who is pro-Antifa, that's called democracy, baby. I don't know, right? Like, do you believe in a state's right to govern itself? To an extent. Not entirely. I do think that they should be subject to some federal laws and regulations. But I do think that the government of a state should be able, again, in 99.9999% of circumstances, when the federal government wants to send in the National Guard to do police work, the governor should be able to say no. And the president should not be able to force that issue. The president should not be able to overrule the will of the state in that. Again, in 99.99999% of circumstances. Again, I'm sure you could draft up a circumstance where I'd be like, okay, in this place, yeah, go ahead. $2 from Chuckles Desu to say they can't even pass a clean CR. Well, Congress is in a state. We're, speaking of Congress, hold on. KTC says, so the first thing WIC TV would do is depower the president, not pass reforms that would benefit people like healthcare or immigration reform. Shake my head. I think that the number one issue that I have right now is that, and I think we're seeing it with Trump, is that the executive branch has too much power to put these things at threat. So the first thing I would do is limit the executive power, because if I don't, it doesn't matter what else I do. It doesn't matter what other reforms I pass, what other kind of executive orders I sign. What is done by executive order can be undone by executive order. I am simply kicking the can down the road, and these things, all my work, can be undermined in an instant. What I want to do is make it so these things have more foundation. And the way we do that is by limiting the power of the executive branch to just willy-nilly do whatever, right? $20 from Alexander Wren to say Congress has entirely passed the buck to the president. Rather than writing legislation, they gave him the ability to use executive orders. Rather than declaring war, they gave him the right to send troops wherever he pleases. True. Sneed McFeed says, why have none of the people you voted for actually done that? None of the people you voted for actually did that either. It's a problem. And do you know why? There's a moth. But the reason why, as I can understand it, is it's like you ever seen The Lord of the Rings? The first scene when they're talking about the past and they're like going through the history of the ring, right? Where they beat Sauron, they got the ring, they're out Mount Doom, they're about to cast the ring into the fire, and you got the elf guy saying, do it, cast the ring into the fire, save us all. And the human guy, right, the human king looks at it, no. And he thinks he can use it for the benefits of man, or the benefits of him, and the benefits of everyone else, right? That's why they don't do this, is because everyone thinks that they can do it right this time, that they're going to wield their executive authority in full righteousness and nothing will ever go wrong. That's why no one, absolutely no one, has done this in the last, 20 years? They all think, I want the Ring of Power. $5 from Old School says, Antifa is a terrorist organization morally equivalent to the KKK. No, I don't think the voters have a right to submit me to a terrorist allied government. I don't know if that's true. I don't think Antifa is the same as the KKK, but I don't know enough about Antifa to tell you. Sneed McFeed says, the world is not your fantasy book. Do you know what's remarkable about mankind and culture? One of the remarkable things is that we often will tell stories about the truths of the world, and we use storytelling to transmit values, to transmit truth, to help the people, our children, our fellow citizens, learn more about the world through the power of stories. So, no, the world isn't my fantasy book. However, stories, including those in science fiction and in fantasy books, often can be used as vehicles to tell truth. And one of the truths, I think, that The Lord of the Rings accurately depicts, and we see this because it maps out in the real world, is that those who seek to use evil to destroy evil will become evil themselves. Every time, without fail. History has shown us that this is the case. So no, my story isn't my fantasy book, but I would say that my fantasy book has a better grasp on reality than your ideology and worldview. You're welcome, Steve McFeed. Should I put it in story format? Once there was a boy in my YouTube chat. This boy had a very weird name. But who am I to judge, as the narrator of this story also has a very weird name. This young boy had listened to a lot of stories from his idols. And these stories had told him that you must wield power to destroy your enemies. And nothing bad would happen if you normalize wielding these powers, if you forge these weapons. Then, one day, this young boy found that those weapons he had forged had fallen into the hands of those he deemed his enemies. These enemies, with glee, used those weapons against him, and he was shocked. Yes, dear viewer, shocked that this were to be the case. He cried out, "Won't anyone save me from these weapons I had forged?" But no one saved him. It was sad. If only he had listened to that handsome, wise, intelligent, beautiful YouTuber named Wick TV, then perhaps these weapons would never have been forged, and he would be free to frolic with his gay buddies all day. Okay. But alas, there would be no butt sex for him. No, no, no. He was destroyed by the weapons he had forged. Sad. Okay, I think that's all I got for you today, gang. I think we covered everything I wanted. Oh, no, there was one more. This is quick. So I had to double check, but this is real, okay? So attention, all patriots. America is back, and so is a $1 coin. President of the United States and real Donald Trump will forever be the face of America's 250th birthday, thanks to Secretary Scott Bessent and the Treasury Beach. And no, this is not fake news. This is real. This is real. They're making, and the Treasury's going to make a $1 coin, silver dollar, and it's going to have Trump on it. This is a gay as shit, gang. What? Look, back in the day, it used to be a golden calf. Now, today, it's a silver cow. Okay, that's all I'm saying. Like, idolatry is a big thing in MAGA circles. It's weird. Look, the Obama stuff was weird too back in the day, right? That was weird. It was weird. Everyone idolized him, and it's kind of idolizing a politician is like thinking that the stripper loves you, okay? They do not. I don't know. I think it's stupid. But it's on the list of stupid and dangerous and evil stuff from this administration. Very low on the totem pole. But I just thought I wanted to share that and go over it. It even has fight, fight, fight on the dollar. You know. I don't know. We live in the age of stupid. Everything's worse. Nothing's better. And it continues to get worse. And it will continue to get worse unless we do something about it. I'm going to remind you all, dear viewers, we choose the world that we want to live in. I beg of you, choose a world where people aren't getting fired for pride flags or crosses. Choose a world where people aren't getting chased out of a classroom and beaten up for their beliefs, whether that belief be right-wing, left-wing, crazy, non-crazy, doesn't matter, right? For their words. Do not answer words with fists or bullets. Words for words, fists for fists. Do not try to cross the two, okay? Someone's punching you, fight back. Someone's yapping at you, yap back. Cool? Cool. Okay, what do we got coming up? Monday. Shutdown Showdown. We have Gen Z attorney. We have Ryan Mullally going head-to-head with Ultra and Leftist Dan about who is more responsible for the government shutdown, the Republicans or the Democrats. Talk about it. It'll be a fun debate. On Wednesday, we're going to have Nuts Erudite. We're going to have Soy Pill. We're going to have Lactoid. And we're looking for a fourth right-winger worth his salt. I want to get someone, a true believer, if you will. We're looking through it. To talk about who has better solutions for crime, the right or the left. And that'll be a fun debate as well. On Tuesday, we're going to we're looking if Drew can make it. We're trying to do a reschedule of the Erudite and Drew Pavlo debate, but that's up in the air right now. That's what we got coming up so far. If you guys have other things you want to talk about, or if you have other shows you want to see, reach out. Let me know. I'm always looking for new voices. I'm always looking for different topics. But this is what we're going to talk about. Cool? Cool. Any last monies for me? $5 from Chapingro's Economics to say, here's a story. In the Malayan dialogue, were the Malayans correct to die to the last man and have their children and wives sold to slavery for principles? I don't know the Malayan dialogue. I'm unfamiliar with that. Maybe. There are some hills that are worth dying on, principally. There are some hills that you should die upon, or at least fight upon to your last breath, if you must. Obviously, no one wants to die. But there are causes that are worth dying for. This nation, America, worth putting your life on the line for. It is. The principles that underline America. And we are a propositional nation. That proposition is a hill worthy of death, is a hill worthy of dying upon. I served my country. I believe it. I'm glad I didn't die, right? And to be clear, wasn't combat or anything like that, right? Wasn't a combat role. But still, it is something I believe in, and some beliefs are worth putting your life on the line for. That's my thoughts. That's what I got. Anything else, ladies and gentlemen? Any last memes? Any last anything? I don't know. Cool. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.